everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about something that's extremely important when it comes to buying a home, calculating how much you can afford and how much you want to be able to afford, which are two very different things. The bank's going to usually tell you you can afford a little bit more than you probably are comfortable with. So we're going to get into all that in this video. This is a crucial step in buying a home, and it's important for you to do it right and set yourself up for success. So let's get started. So the first step in determining how much you can afford is actually to do a budget. And that's not what a lot of realtors are going to tell you. They're going to tell you that it's this perfect little ratio and it's all going to be based on this or that. No. You need to do an actual budget and figure out how much you're spending each month and where you're spending it. Pull out your bank statements, look at, I've got Truebill on my phone, right? Pull out, or it's not even Truebill anymore. They changed their name, Rocket Money. But anyways, pull out a full statement of what you spend your money on every month, how much money you actually are bringing in after all your taxes are taken out, and really look at how much you can afford. Now, this might be, oh, well, I spend this much on rent. But if you're looking at homes, you might be trying to spend a little bit more than you're spending on rent. You might be trying to spend less. It's very based on your personal finances. So if you are looking for that magic ratio number, maybe 25% of your take-home pay, maybe 30% of your take-home pay. This will help you determine the maximum amount you should spend on your mortgage each month. Remember that this is just a guideline when you're looking at it by percentages, because every household is different. If you're a single person and you don't have a car payment and you don't have student loans, you're probably physically capable of spending more on your home than a single income household with a second person at home and then, several kids. They're going to have different expenses than the single person. So look at that budget, look at every little line item and figure out what you personally can afford in a monthly payment. Once you've figured out how much you can afford each month, it's time to start using some online mortgage calculators, and they're a dime a dozen all over the internet, right? Just Google it, to determine your home budget and how much you can afford based on that monthly payment and based on the current interest rates, which change in the year 2023 daily, all the time. We're constantly getting new and different mortgage rates. So figure out what they are right now, use a mortgage calculator, and determine your budget. There's a lot of online options, as I said, but they can help you figure out how much you can afford based on your income, your debts, and some other financial factors, and some factors about the properties you're looking at. If you're in an area where it's going to be really common for you to have super high HOA fees, you should factor that in. If you're in an area that has no HOA fees, really low taxes, you should figure that in. So use these calculators and play with some different scenarios on them. Let's talk about more on the next page. So this is a mortgage calculator I pulled up real quick on the Dave Ramsey website. So this shows, okay, if you're looking at a $200,000 home and you're putting 20% down on 15-year fixed rate at 5%, what's your monthly payment going to be? Well, assuming that you have monthly taxes of $183, monthly insurance of $125, and HOA fees of $100, you might be looking at a monthly payment of about $1,674 because your principal and interest payment is going to be $1,265. Now, a lot of these mortgage calculators are going to kind of work like that. They're going to assume things like your taxes and your insurance and your HOA fees. Some of them, when you hit the edit button, you can tailor those to what the actual house you're looking at is going to have. So you might not know your insurance right off the bat. You should call your insurance agent and figure out what it might be. Ask for a ballpark just so that you can run some numbers. You probably know from the MLS listing what the HOA fees are going to be, and you should know from the MLS listing what the taxes are going to be for the year. Just divide that out by 12 and add it to your payment. Or it might on the mortgage calculator do that for you. You can also, on a lot of these calculators, put in the tax rate as a percentage and just assume that the taxes are going to be 1%, 1.1%, something like that. Figure out what's appropriate for your area. So it's also important to factor in your closing costs and your prepaids. Depending on the market, you may or may not be able to get the seller to help you out with this on the contract. Check with your agent to see what's normal at the moment in your price range and area. So what are closing costs and prepaids? Closing costs and prepaids are going to be all the costs associated to you in the real estate transaction. So that's going to be things like your inspection fees, any title work fees on your side of the transaction, your appraisal fees, your legal fees. Sometimes, if you're in a state that is an attorney state, they'll have legal fees associated with the transaction in addition to the buyer's agent's fees and all of that. So check in on your local area and talk to your agent about what's normal. Your lender should also be giving you a disclosure statement talking about some of the fees that you might run into. So ask for that and ask for it early so that you're not surprised by anything. Depending on where you live, closing costs can range from between 2% to 5 or 6% of your home buying process. And in the year of 2023, inflation's on the rise, so it might get even higher. So make sure that you've budgeted for it. So another thing to focus on when you're calculating out how much you can afford in home ownership is the actual cost of home ownership. If you've been renting until now, your landlord's been taking a lot of the financial burden of living off of you. So this can include things like your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, and your maintenance costs. What are you going to do if you buy the home and although the furnace checked out perfectly fine at the inspection, furnaces break, air conditioners break, water heaters explode, plumbing leaks happen, and your inspection is just what was the condition of the home on that day at that time that they could see without, opening up walls and things. So things happen. You have to be able to budget for the cost of home ownership. So you want to make sure that you have a rainy day fund for some of those things. And it might be something that you start working on before you start buying the house. And it might be something that you have a very regimented plan for saving while you own the home. But be sure you factor that in. Finally, if you want to make your home more affordable on a monthly basis, consider putting down a larger down payment. This might mean that you're saving a little bit longer, but it can really pay off. If you can get over that 20% threshold, you're going to knock out something called PMI, which is mortgage insurance that you pay for if you don't pay. And it doesn't benefit you, it benefits the bank. So if you can get over 20%, do it. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video on how to calculate how much you can afford in your new home. I hope this was helpful and gave you some things to think about and some numbers to run. If you have any questions about real estate, I'm always here for advice and that sort of thing. Remember, when you're taking your next step in home ownership, reach out to your agent. And if you're local in our area, Columbia, Missouri, I would absolutely love for you to give us a call. Thanks so much and happy house hunting. Bye.